The Holy Gospel according to Saint John, the 2nd chapter. Glory to you, O Lord. Turning water to wine at the wedding at Cana is described as the first of Jesus' signs. Through many such epiphanies, Jesus revealed that he bears God's creative power and joyful presence into the world. A reading from John. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now, standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jar with water." And they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants will have to draw the water, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serve the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. You all may be seated, and also you can remain seated. So friends, let me ask you this. Do you like surprises? Surprises. Do you like surprises?
Only good ones.
Only good ones. I like that, Linda. Because I absolutely hate surprises. You know, this morning, I looked outside and I was like, ooh, it's foggy. It must be really cold, and I put my layer on, my scarf, and I have another layer on. And I went outside and goes like, it's not cold. I felt overdressed. I hate surprises. And you know, I especially hate when God surprises me. So I have this nicely written down my sermon. Even I tweaked some this morning and said, looks good. I have something I can talk about this wedding in Cana. And I have the good example, I thought, until during the service at St. Nicholas, Coleman came and told me the story, which fits much better than the story I chose and typed up and gave to author. And I went, oh, I hate surprises. But if you know God is revealing to you something, you know which direction you need to go. So that is the direction going. And sorry, Arthur, I know I got everything nicely put there, and I told Arthur, that may not help. I'll try my best, Arthur, and see. But story of the scripture is always the same. But my example is not the same. Wedding of Cana is one of those stories of God's surprises. There are the multiple surprises in there. One was Jesus was invited to that wedding party, including his newly appointed disciples. So was his mother was there. That's the one surprise. There's no RSVP. He was there. And another surprise, it's the wine ran out. Wine ran out. I read the commentary in those days. It was the bridegroom's responsibility to host this wedding. And wedding lasted about a week. Yes, it's not like 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon. It's a whole week of celebration. And not many are rich in the time of Jesus. Somewhere I read that only 2% are really well off. The rest are different level of try to make their ends meet. It's just a different version of the level of it. But it's just like, if something happens, you may not make it kind of lifestyle. That was the time of the people. And at the wedding, which lasted about a week, people, the community was invited, and people came to the wedding with the gift of drink or food to everyone to eat. But to our surprise, bless you, the wine ran out. Wine ran out. And another next surprise is Jesus gave a gift of wine by turning water into wine. So the story Coleman told me this morning was a story of surprise. It can happen in our lives. How many of you have some food stored in freezer? I have plenty of those. That's my lifeline. You know, if we have extra another time, you put in the freezer. So when you're busy day, you can take it out. But how many of you know that when you take the food out from freezer, you exactly know what it is? There's a good organizing people put the labels and dates on those things, which I don't. And apparently Coleman was not. So I was calling Coleman on Friday and talking over the phone, and he was ready for his supper. And I asked, like, so what are you having? Coleman said, well, I pulled out some from the freezer. It looks like something red. So maybe it's pasta sauce, some sort of. And yeah, he would say, like, well, probably make some spaghetti and eat with it. And he was sitting out there waiting to defrost a bit before he'll cook it. He didn't know what it was. But today I asked, so what did you eat on supper? Guess what he said? It was not the pasta sauce, but it was like called like bouillon or something. It's like the soup with the fish. Like you make the soup out of it with the fish, and I don't know, you have like lots of goodies in there.
Bouillabaisse.
Bouillabaisse, that could be. He said me something which English words didn't hit me, my vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
You might know what I'm talking about. You cook with like the bunch of fish to make the soup stock out, and you add some tomato or some kind of vegetables and in it. When it's defrosted, that was it. And what he said, it was much better than I intended to have that supper. I had a great supper. Today's story of wedding of Cana. When Jesus told the servant to fill the water in the jars and turn the water into wine, Scripture said that wine was very, very good. The steward who tasted was surprised with, "It's the very finest wine," and told the bridegroom, "I can't believe you. You saved such a good wine till us now, when some people already drunk. They can't tell the difference." The wine was better, much, much better than anticipated. This story, at least to me, reminds me of this God's surprises. God's surprises are not always pleasant. Sometimes it changes the way we do stuff. But when God reveals God's self in the surprises, we taste this God's grace, so sweet, so fulfilling, so nourishing, so make us glad to be alive. And the story of wedding of Cana is not just a story in the past. I'm sure it is a story also you have in a similar way. Not just a big scale like the week-long of wedding, but something. You have the plan, you thought you were doing this way. Plan changed. Because God revealed in your life to remind you of God's presence at that moment. So back to what I wrote down before, sir. So at this week, I want you to ponder and think about how God surprised you in your day-to-day life. And how that surprise make you feel and make you live in the next day. Because as the stories ended, once this newly appointed disciple saw this Jesus changing water to wine to surprise everyone, they come to believe who Jesus was. The God's only Son who came to show God's love for all. That's all I got. Sorry.